In this video, I want to briefly talk about backing up your data in Wave. And I would recommend doing this about once a year, but you could do it more often if you wanted to. First of all, two important reports to have as a backup would be your profit and loss and your balance sheet. So for your profit and loss, you would just choose the date range that you're backing up. You would choose cash or accrual basis, and then you would probably want to have the details as opposed to the summary, just so you have a little more information. And you can export this to a CSV or a PDF file. And then the other report was the balance sheet. And again, you're just going to choose the date range and the report type and click on Update Report and just make sure you can see the details. And you can export this to a CSV or a PDF file. And then a report that I really like is the general ledger. This report shows you all of the transactions in the date range that you choose. So I'm going to choose 2024, cash basis, all contacts, and update the report. As I scroll down, you can see that it shows every single account that was affected in 2024 and every single transaction, whether it was a debit or a credit, and the balance, the date, a description. And this just has so much information, and it basically gives you everything. So if you had to rebuild this data, this would be a great starting point. Obviously, it's not going to show you the individual invoices and things like that, but you would have invoice numbers, you would have the customer name here, you would have amounts, you would have dates, and it would be pretty helpful if you had to rebuild this data. And I actually like to export this to a CSV file so that I can open it up in Excel and so that I can search for things if I'm searching for something specific. And I'm going to compare it to the PDF so you can see the difference. So this is the PDF, looks good. You can see everything. And then this is what it looks like when I open the CSV file in Excel. I can do a little more with this because I can search for things using this find and select feature. I can change the column width. And for me, it's just a good place to review the data. I can copy paste. For example, if I just wanted to look at the credit card, I could copy paste this data into a new sheet. So there's just a little more I can do with this. Overall, I like using this as a good format to review the data for the year. Now, if you don't have Excel, that's okay. You can put this document into Google Drive and open it as a Google Sheet. And then there are a few other reports that you may or may not need to save. If you collect and submit sales tax, then you would probably want to have a copy of this report. And it's just going to show you any transactions related to sales tax for the year or for the time period. And then if you use Wave for payroll, then you would probably want to have backup copies of the payroll reports. If you use customer invoicing or vendor bills, you may or may not want to save a couple of these reports, specifically aged receivables, if you have outstanding customer invoices, and aged payables. And then one other report that I think would be helpful would be the trial balance. This is just going to give you a list of the accounts and the debit or credit balances as of whatever date you put up here. So this has the same information as some of the other reports. It's just more summarized. For example, on the general ledger, it has this information, but it's not summarized. It shows you all of the individual transactions, and the report is much bigger. But here it's just summarized so you have just the ending balance, if that's all you need. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to have this report saved as well. You can see that all of the accounts are here. The assets, liabilities, and equity, those are accounts on the balance sheet. And then the income and expenses, those accounts are on the profit and loss. And that's all I wanted to go over in this video. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and thank you for watching.